This is in a private message that I got over on my DeviantArt account, my art gallery website. I'm limegreensquid.deviantart.com. On one of my entries called Hate Speech, one of my drawings. I can't remember if I showed it here or not, but we continued a little conversation. He was being respectful, and I was being respectful too. And one of his responses here, I just wanted to portray my response to it. He says, "I have a theory, not one that would necessarily be upheld in any church, but I believe that if God is as accepting and gracious as the gospel says he is, then I don't think he necessarily would care whether you were gay, lesbian, bi, etc. The Bible was written by a man, and man is flawed, technically speaking. Who's to say that everything written in the Bible is what God wanted us to follow? Plus, the Bible never specifically talks about anything that has to do with gay people. It says things about fornication, perversion, etc., but never really goes into detail. People just assume that because that wasn't the natural order, it was wrong. I just can't really see someone with so much power and so much love stomping on someone else just because of a personal preference they have. To me, it's like disowning your child just because they prefer Call of Duty Modern Warfare over Black Ops. Not the same degree, but it's still just as silly to me." My answer: well, Leviticus 18:22 and 20:13 do go into specific details. If a man should lie with another man as he would lie with a woman, they have both committed an abomination and shall be put to death, their blood upon them. That specifically speaks against gay people, or at least of gay acts, which are only performed by gay people or people experimenting. And again, that's a choice. As long as it's not hurting anyone, what's the problem? That law came from God's lips during the more commonly known of the two Ten Commandments stories. You can't believe in the Ten Commandments without also agreeing with God's murderous thoughts on gay people, or that raped women should be forced to marry their rapists without yourself coming off as completely hypocritical or undereducated. All of God's words are conveyed only ever by men, either speaking or writing biblical stories, and so I find it my moral responsibility, and should be everyone else's, to reject these men's stories because they only serve to give power to all the people who choose to use the Bible as justification for their bigotry. Let me repeat this. This is the most important point I ever try to make, and people never seem to get it. Supporting a religion which says to love one another at the same time as it says to kill certain people for the way they were born, or things they believe, only serves to give power to all the people who choose to use the Bible as a justification for bigotry. You're enablers. Why continue to wear dirty clothes that you know are dirty and filthy, uncomfortably so, if you can just clean them? Why hold on to an old philosophy that is more than 75% obsolete and more than 50% cruel, when there are many godless philosophies that value life much more and much more fair in dealing with the suffering of real people as opposed to the suffering of an imaginary God? Choose to believe in a God if that's what you need, but try to separate your God from the God of the Bible or Quran by name. Choose not to claim allegiance with Yahweh or Jesus, but your own God. Make your own name for him. Make sure he's not as evil as Yahweh and not as delusional and bipolar as Jesus. When more believers do this, openly reject the evil gods, only then can we rid this world of the hateful beliefs that come attached to those evil religious figures, such as Yahweh, the God of the Bible. I'm glad some aspects of religion sound silly to you. Hopefully that will keep you on the path of knowledge and information seeking. Someday I hope you come to the conclusion that reality is way more interesting and beautiful than a human imagining of a God could ever be. That's all I really want, people to appreciate the universe that's actually here, rather than scoffing because they think they're working toward a paradise promised to them only after they die, the biggest con artist move that only uninformed children could ever fall for, which is why religion targets children, to educate, rather than waiting until they're educated enough about the real world and able to discern better when they are being lied to, rather than just accepting what every adult tells them, which is the human child's inclination to do until they reach that point when they realize some people that they trust do lie. But back to what you specifically said, I would be more comfortable believing in a God like you described. I don't think a creator of the universe would be so petty and small-minded and stupid and ignorant as to care which breed of short-lived bacteria believe in him or have procreate in certain different ways or enjoy each other in certain different ways if they're not procreating, nor to create arbitrary laws against their nature when punishing them for fulfilling the nature he programmed into them in the first place. If there's anything wrong with mankind, only the Creator can be blamed, if there's a Creator. It seems he didn't want us to be perfect, and then punishes us for not being perfect. That is a sign of cruelty and evil. As long as you reject Yahweh and his Son, then you are on the right track. Otherwise, it's like intentionally siding with Hitler because some of the things he said encouraged vegetarianism, on top of all the evil he was responsible for saying and doing. Don't associate yourself with a God who is worse than Hitler, according to the only stories that describe this God to exist.